What's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about why diets fail and what you need to do to lose weight and keep it off for good. We've got a couple pie charts down here. This one illustrating weight loss and regain after the first year of weight loss, and this is the 5-year pie chart. As you can see over here, within the first year of losing weight, only 20% of those people who lost weight were able to keep it off. 40% regained their weight, and then the other 40% gained even more. And these are 5 of the reasons why that happened. We'll go over in a sec. It's even more bleak when you look at the 5-year numbers, where only 5% of people were able to maintain their weight loss. So you might be asking, why is that? And a lot of it comes down to yo-yo dieting and things like that. But I pegged these 5 things as major contributors as to why most diets fail. Our first one, an end date. So if you're dieting for, let's say, some special occasion, bodybuilding competition, wedding, vacation, something like that, you want to look good for a certain date, what people will find is after that date they're lost. They just fall off the diet, or they just say, well, it's over with, and they go back to eating just like they did before and get just as fat, if not fatter. So you can't just put an end date on your diet. You got to adopt it as a lifestyle and have long-term goals. Our second key point to avoid is metabolic adaptation. This is kind of an advanced, sort of controversial topic, but basically as you lose weight, your body becomes more efficient with the calories you're taking in, and you need to eat less calories. You'll see this a lot when you're dieting. You'll start to plateau and you're like, well, why did I stop losing weight? It's because of metabolic adaptation. So when you're losing weight, your muscles have to work less hard because you have physically less weight on your skeleton. Your muscles might even get smaller as you lose weight, and that won't burn as many calories. Your mitochondria will become more efficient to produce ATP. Some other factors would be your microbiome, gut biome changes and becomes more efficient as the live cultures in your stomach become better at they'll change and become better at breaking down the food you eat. There's a whole bunch of other reasons for why your metabolism becomes more efficient. That'll make it so you have to eat less and less as you get smaller and smaller. And you'll see people like bodybuilding coaches like Layne Norton talk about doing a reverse diet at the end of a diet so you can get back up to a reasonable amount of calories and still keep some of your leanness. And that's really something you want to do after a long weight loss period. Our third point here is a lot of diets are unsustainable, and this kind of has to do with the end date, is that you really got to ask yourself, can I be doing this diet in 6 months or in a year or for the rest of your life? Because if you want to be that 5% that keeps the weight off, you're going to have to be able to do this for a long time. If you tell yourself, I'm ketogenic, I'm never eating sugar again in my life, do you really think that's going to be possible? Because I used to be on a keto diet, and I kind of internalized it and thought of it as a magic solution. And I said, I can do this for the rest of my life, which was really unrealistic. I love cereal, I love cake, all this stuff. And it's fine to indulge every once in a while because that's something that's sustainable. Our fourth tip is misinformation. People really make out dieting and nutrition to be really complex when it's not. If your main goal is to lose weight, there's 2 things you need to do. Eat less and move more. And that's all it comes down to. It's really not as complex as, high fructose corn syrup. That's the only thing. Makes everyone fat. Carbs make everyone fat. Fats make everyone fat. Freaking protein will dissolve your bones and give you kidney cancer. All these really, kind of complex things that'll come out of one study and everyone misinterprets it. That's not what you need to be focusing on. You need to be focusing on your overall calorie and energy balance. That's all it is. Calories in versus calories out. It's a little more complex than just that. But if you stop eating as much as you're eating, let's say we take you, lift you up, put you on a desert island, you don't eat. You think you're going to lose weight? Of course you're going to lose weight. You're not eating as much. Our 5th tip is magic solutions. And this ties into basically everything when it comes to things like no carbs, no fats, whatever fad diet it is, Atkins, keto, paleo, clean eating, anything like that. There's nothing that's going to be magic about certain foods. There's no really, when it comes down to it, there's no good foods and bad foods. There's high calorie foods, nutrient dense foods, things like that. But there's no food that's making you fat. It's all the food you're eating. There's no magic solution. And you just need to interpret that, bad foods and good foods don't really exist. There is foods with higher levels of nutrients and things like that, but it's not like you're going to be able to eat broccoli, chicken, and rice your entire life. And when you get into diets like that, studies show that those people are actually deficient in a lot of nutrients. You'll be super high in some nutrients and super low in others. So, these are all the things you want to avoid. But what are the 2 things that can make you part of that 5%? Well, I'll show you right now. Hold on, I know that word's spelled wrong. Alrighty, excuse my minor dyslexia. So the 2 things that people who are able to maintain their weight loss in the long term that have been found are self-monitoring and consistency. Self-monitoring is basically, weighing yourself every day, weighing yourself every week, looking in the mirror every day. So this makes you accountable. So if you might say, maybe I'll have an extra slice of pizza tonight, and you don't weigh yourself the next day, and you do that every night. At the end of the week, you might end up weighing 3 pounds more and say, hey, where did all those calories come from? This is why self-monitoring is so important. So you make yourself accountable for all those food choices that you make. Our second one is consistency. And you'll always hear people preach consistency, consistency, consistency. That's basically because you want to stick to this goal for a long time. Like I said, this has to do with longevity. If you're not consistent with your diet and you're kind of yo-yoing, as we were talking about earlier, then you're not going to be able to keep that weight off in the long term. You need to be doing the same thing. There's things like carb cycling and that, but you want to be sticking to your diet for the most part. Every day is going to be the same. Eating foods consistently and things of that nature. So if you employ self-monitoring and stay consistent, you'll have a higher likelihood of being that 5% that's able to keep their weight off over the 5 years. And you might be able to do it for even longer than that. That's the hope anyways. So I hope you guys can use these things to not fall into another fad yo-yo diet and keep the weight off in the long term and be a healthy human being. Thanks, guys.